Hello, today I want to talk to you about how beliefs become our self-fulfilling prophecies. So I want to first of all step you through a seven-step process that leads to the actions that we take. So let's start with the first thing, which is our belief. So we have a belief, whatever that belief might be. It might be a positive belief, or it might be a negative belief. Whatever that belief is, it then leads to an attitude. So that attitude then puts us in a frame of mind which allows us to either do or not do certain things. And when we're in that frame of mind, that then leads us to have thoughts. And those thoughts then lead us to think about things in a particular way. So we think about things that are possible, things that are not possible, things that have happened to us in the past that have worked out, things that have happened to us in the past that have worked out. So these things are thoughts within our heads that lead us then onto a feeling. We then feel something. We feel that we were successful, or we feel that we failed, or we felt that we could have done better. So these feelings and thoughts are combinations of how we then make decisions. We then move on to make decisions based on those thoughts and feelings, which ultimately lead to our choices. So we make choices about what we do, how we do them, why we do them, and if we want to do them. So once we've started with a belief, we go through this process of attitude, thoughts, feelings, making decisions, and then we make a choice. So this is why everything that we believe leads to a self-fulfilling prophecy. So in other words, what we believe is what we think is our ability to do something, or not, as the case may be. So think about this as how you approach things. It's really important to remember that we all have these thoughts going through our head of whether things are possible, whether it's not possible. I think about the things that actually confirm whether you think that something is possible or not, or vice versa, whether something is not possible. And then what then happens within you as a person as you then think about that, and you think about the thoughts that are in your head, which lead to how you feel, which then lead to the decisions you make, and then the choices ultimately that you make with regards to what you want to happen. So let's break this down into why beliefs are so important. So I've already described how changing our belief can actually lead to changing our choices, because our beliefs lead through that process into a choice at the other end. But once you've made that choice, that then will lead back into our new beliefs, because once we've taken that choice, made that decision, take that action, done whatever it was that you wanted to do, it then leads back into a belief into, can I do that? Am I good at that? Am I not good at that? Which then leads back into that process. So what we've got to think about is how our beliefs can be changed, and how we can be maybe a little bit more aware of the things that are holding us back, the things that we are taking as something that's already happened to us, things that are something that we haven't actually done yet, but because of previous experiences, we are holding ourselves back and stop ourselves doing certain things. So let's think about the things that lead to our beliefs. So firstly, let's think about our beliefs about ourselves. And this is really core and fundamental in our belief about ourselves, is about how we see ourselves, fitting into the world, and our self-concept around how we believe things are possible or not, and how we frame that within our mind, with our thoughts, is really important. Because if we frame it that we are unable to do something all the time, then that's always going to be a barrier to our ability to do something. So beliefs are really important in that we have to be aware of them. We've got to then think about how that leads into the thoughts that we have, which then leads to how we actually take action. And the thing is, what we've got to think about is there are things that have led us to our beliefs, and I've sort of alluded to it already, in that they are about the things that have happened to us in some ways. So we are all a combination of the things that have happened to us over our lifetime, from what we experienced in our childhood, what we experienced when we first went into the workplace, the things that have happened in our personal life. All those things are a combination of the things that we now believe are true. But there are 7.8 billion people in the world, and every one of them has a different belief based on their experience up until this point. So one of the things that leads to our beliefs is what has happened to us. The next thing we've got to think about is how we then perceive our ability to influence our future. So our belief in our ability to do things in the future is based also on what's happening now. So I'm recording this in mid-2021. We've had almost 18 months of the pandemic, which leads us into a frame of mind that, will we ever get out of this situation? But as history has told us, things pass and we move on, and we have to then think about what's going to come next without having too much thoughts around what's happening now. So we are a combination of what's happened to us, so what's happening to us. So it might be the wider world, it might be things that happen to us more close to home, at work, in our connected families, whatever it might be. They're the things that are affecting us here and now. So then the third thing is the beliefs that we have to have is about our ability to affect what happens in the future, and what we believe can happen in the future is affected by our beliefs and the possibilities that we see. So this is why our beliefs can become self-fulfilling prophecies, or in most cases will always be self-fulfilling prophecies. It's about what we believe will happen in the future. If we don't believe something, then we will never allow it to happen, because we don't believe it and we don't take the actions that are needed to allow it to happen. So to recap, so beliefs lead to our choices through a process of thoughts and feelings, and once we've gone through that process, we make decisions, and then they lead to choices. When we are stepping through that process, we have three elements that we have to, or we are taking into account. We're taking into account what's happened to us in the past, what's happening to us now, and also what we want to happen in the future. And if we lose sight of any of those factors, then we're not really taking into account all aspects of our being. So think about how affected you are about the things that have happened to you in the past. Think about the things that are affecting you now, about your thoughts and the frustrations and the good things that are happening. Because remember that we don't want to make decisions when we are either in euphoria or in the depths of depression. We want to make a decision when we're in a place where we have almost a level sort of thought process. So think about how those things are all sort of moulding within your thought process around the things that have happened to you, the things that are happening to you now, and what you want to happen in the future. Because ultimately we're all moving towards our future, and we can influence what happens in the future by firstly believing something is possible, having the right thoughts around that possibility, which then leads us thinking that we need to make certain decisions to allow those things to happen, which lead to better choices. So I hope that's useful for you. If you'd like to hear more about that, or maybe check in with how you are perceiving certain things, then check out my website, the reluctantleader.academy, where there's a chance to take some scorecards with either your leadership essentials, or also some other tests that you can do to see how you are perceiving and feeling about your current situation, and most importantly how you are thinking, which are led by your beliefs.